I committed super early into my sophomore year at McLennan because I just knew what I was going to expect from him. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. So coming in, I knew his coaching style. I knew that he trusted me, and he's super loyal. I value that a ton. But as far as his coaching style goes, really not much changed. I mean, he still expects greatness out of all of his players, and that doesn't matter if he's got 10 parents in the stands watching him or 2,000.
Welcome to Zen Game, where we go inside the world of college sports. I'm here with Ty from the Baylor Baseball team. It's you've been a heck of a road here, and I'm sure it's just the pride that you must have for having the Baylor jersey on must be so much greater than a lot of people, given the path that you're just right down the street playing JUCO. So I have to imagine this is just the dream.
Yeah, 100%. I love being here. I love Waco, especially coming from McLennan, playing for the same coach. I kind of developed a sort of pride for where I'm at. It's tough for a lot of people, but I really take pride in Waco and Baylor. And that's kind of been a main focus of our team this year is kind of getting back to being proud of that BU on your chest and being proud of where you're from. And I think that's really reflected in kind of our team culture, and definitely for myself as well. It's given me a lot more joy.
So you experienced a season of losing, and that had been the program had kind of been in a small rut, which traditionally is a very good baseball team. You got a hat on that says "Believe" today. Has that been a big part of this season? Is getting back to that belief that this team should be and will be a winning team again?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we talk about the past quite a bit. We respect the teams that came before us, and we know that there's been a ton of success here in the past. I mean, our assistant coaches, Coach Blair, Coach Dillon, they played on super successful teams here. Obviously, Coach Dillon played for that 2005 team that went to the College World Series. Coach Thompson coached those teams. So we know that this program has had a history of success. And obviously, it's frustrating to lose. Like, nobody likes to lose. Kind of coming into this season, we had this belief. We're kind of just telling ourselves, like, we are good. Like, we're good and we can get this done. And that's kind of like the first step, you know? Like, I think coming into the previous seasons, we were kind of like hoping to win. And now we're going into games knowing that we're going to win, and losing is the exception. So I think that's made this season a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, sitting in this room, I mean, the cameras, you can't see it, but it's behind the cameras. It's just championship after championship in this place. I have to imagine here it's even harder. You know, in some places, losing is tough everywhere, but in some places, it's a little bit more expected. But here, this is a place that's used to winning in whatever is done here.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about being here as well is just like the support system that we get from everybody. You know, like we might have had those losing seasons in the past, but there's still people coming up to us, supporting us, saying how much they love Baylor baseball, and that just really speaks to the culture of the university and why I'm so thankful that I chose this place.
When did baseball start for you? How early did you start playing? What positions were you playing as a kid?
Yeah, my whole life. I mean, I started playing super early. I had a bat in my hand when I was like 2 years old. I mean, my parents have pictures in the house of me like impersonating people. In our back door, we had a big window, and I just look at myself impersonating people that I grew up looking up to. I grew up an infielder, played second base. Ian Kinsler, the Ranger second baseman growing up, he was my hero. Wore my pants out because of him. I mean, I loved him growing up, but as I got older, I kind of explored like new positions, was put in different spots, and I think that really made me better as a baseball player growing up because I don't know, sometimes like you kind of get stuck in your ways. It's like, no, like I'm only a shortstop, I'm only a third baseman. But kind of moving around throughout like summer ball growing up and high school and everything like that, and even in college, my sophomore year I played second base pretty much the entire year after playing center field the entire year the year prior. But I think that's kind of evolved me into a player and kind of looking at what can I do to make the team better instead of what's going to make me look the best.
You ever get to meet Ian when you were growing up as a kid, and he was kind of like the guy you were looking up to?
Yeah, we would always go to spring training's going on right now. It's just about wrapping up, but we would always go to spring training games when I was growing up. My mom's roommate was out in Arizona, and so we'd always take a trip there over spring break. Obviously, don't really get spring breaks anymore. We would always take trips up there, and we'd go to the Rangers batting practice and everything like that. We'd see if we can catch a couple of players. And I remember I met him, and I was just like starstruck. I couldn't even get a word out. My mom had to ask for his autograph for me. But the cool thing is that he actually came to one of our practices this fall. He's involved with a bat company called Warstick now, and one of our guys on the team, his uncle is a really big part of it, and so he came and kind of talked to us about that everything, and he was just I walked out in the dugout and I saw him, and I don't know what to say. So I went up to him and I'm like, "Look, man, like you were my hero growing up." Like, and then he just talked to me like I was a regular person for like 5 minutes. It was kind of cool just seeing like where I'm at in my career now. I can have kind of conversations with the people I looked up to growing up.
I can't imagine how, like, awesome that was.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Just kind of taking it. It kind of got me to take a step back and kind of look and see where I was.
The fact that you're playing baseball at a level that it's something that he cares to be around, shows you how close you've gotten
For sure. Yeah.
with childhood here like that. Does your mom still have the autograph that he got for you that day? 'Cause I have to imagine that's a cool
It's
piece of memory
actually
to
it's
so
framed up in my room right now. Yeah, it's at my house here. I bring it everywhere with me.
that is because there's nothing that is better than memorabilia that has a personal story to it, and the fact that you went out there and really did that. Funny enough, I go to spring training most years
Oh, yeah?
now still, and actually saw the Rangers at spring training last weekend.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, spring training games are so fun. It's just like I know it's kinda like practice for those guys, but I don't know, it's just seeing like, you're so close to the players and, like, as a kid, like, you don't care if that guy's playing in single A right now or he's in the major leagues. You're like, "Oh my gosh, he's wearing the Rangers logo, like, I have to go get his autograph."
Yeah, it's like also got such a chill feel to it, I think, versus even other baseball games where you can tell the intensity of a major league game in regular season, but there's something really cool about spring training where you feel like all the guys are a little bit more laid back and you get to kind of you see a different side of it. I feel like they're having more fun in some ways.
Yeah, for sure. And you kinda see, like, the difference between, like, the seasoned veterans and kinda the guys that are fighting for a spot, like, just the difference between that. I can't wait to like, whenever I get my spring breaks back eventually, I can't wait to go back over there and kinda, like, bring my kids and see what it's all about, looking at it from a bird's eye view instead of, looking at it from a kid's perspective.
I have to imagine the goal before that though is to play.
100%, yeah.
Hopefully to see spring training from a dugout before
Yes, I'm gonna play until they tell me to stop, but yeah, that's definitely the goal first, but I can't wait to take a step back and look at it without having that tunnel vision of getting to the goals that I need to get to.
with this season, because that is the goal at the moment. How has it been this season, kind of understanding that this is a big opportunity right now to be able to put what you need to out there to be able to have that chance to go play at the next level?
Yeah, number one priority all the time is winning games and being around the team, and winning makes everything better. It makes everything better no matter if you can go 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and you win the game 10-3 and you're happy at the end of the day. It's just winning puts things into perspective and it really makes you pour into your teammates more and more. If I'm out there worrying about if I got my 2 hits or not, like, that's not helping anybody out. It's not helping my coaching staff out and getting me where I need to be. It's not helping my teammates out and getting themselves better individually. So being a good teammate, focusing on winning, and everything else will take care of itself.
And so, what was your path to JUCO? Because for different guys, JUCO baseball is an interesting world compared to other sports because a lot of players are going to JUCO because they don't want to lose their draft eligibility after a year. So it's much less of a second option for a lot of baseball players as it is for kind of football or basketball, et cetera. So what was kind of your path to choosing JUCO?
Yeah, it was really my only option. Coming out of high school, I had 3 offers. They were all Texas junior colleges. Thankfully, one of them was McLennan, but I really wasn't too highly recruited out of high school. Whenever I got to junior college, I got to McLennan. You're like, JUCO is really a hidden gem, and there are some dudes there that you're playing around. I mean, the guys get drafted out of McLennan all the time, and if you go over there and watch them, like you'll see guys that could pitch on our staff right now. But maybe they just didn't get the opportunity out of high school. It's just the development that happens there is so huge, and the difference in the player I was at the end of my senior year of high school to the end of my freshman year of college is like I was a completely different person. But I will say like I went in there like first day of practice and I went home and I told my parents like I don't think I'm gonna play this year. Like I'm gonna have to fight to get in this lineup. there are some really, really good players there. Some of them go because they don't have any other options. Some of them go because it's the best option for them at the time. But there's some really good baseball there.
It's a little bit more self-motivation too, maybe than any other level of sports because you're at a resource program where there were a lot of expectations, but still it's not like here where there are this abundance of resources that are handed to you to succeed at your craft. You have to do a lot of the discipline and work on your own.
Right, yeah, and a huge credit to our coaches over there, obviously Coach Thompson my freshman year, but Coach Tyler Johnson, who's the head coach there now, like, he does a great job at pouring into his players and really developing them. I would say the main difference between junior college and Division I baseball is not necessarily what happens on the field, but it's just, like, there's not as many eyes on you, and, like, maybe you don't feel that pressure of, like, people counting on you to win, like, because people really do care about Baylor sports, whether they're watching or not. There's always someone out there like that really cares about how you're doing individually and how the team's doing. But at junior college, we go win or lose 5, 10 games in a row, and nobody really bat an eye. So it really helps you create relationships with the guys on the team because it really is just you guys, and that's who you care about, that's who you're pouring into. But the development side is so big, and those coaches really do care about you and pour into you.
Even things like nutrition, right? Because
Yeah.
out here, every meal is sensational, taken care of, top of the line. In JUCO, you don't have that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not. But I something did come out of that. We lived in duplexes out in China Springs, and we didn't have a dining hall or anything at McLennan. But they would provide us with meal money, so we go get our own groceries. But it really taught me how to cook.
What's your
And so
favorite meal? What's the best thing you whip?
I really took pride in making a good steak.
Nice.
But yeah, I just go out there and find the cheapest steak I could and try to eat healthy and kind of learn from myself. I know that made my mom happy. The nutrition here is unbelievable. I mean, we get 2 meals a day provided to us, and then we get lunch money to go to Chipotle. Or those probably workers are probably sick of me by now. The amount of times we go in there. I mean, there's baseball dudes crawling all over there at every moment of the day. But yeah, I'm super thankful that I, eventually I'm gonna have to cook for myself again. So I'm glad I learned those skills, but I'm thankful for right now that I don't really have to worry about it.
Probably when you have a family someday,
Yes.
they'll be
Yeah.
happy that
Yeah.
you can get that in the rotation.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong at Chipotle though.
No, absolutely not.
What's your
Yeah,
go-to?
it doesn't get old. I don't I started mixing it up just because I go so often. But always gotta get queso, always gotta get the medium salsa. That's kind of the 2 that I never switch, but I'll switch up all the other ones from time to
It's funny, I eat plant-based, and the only thing I can change up there is I'll get black beans or pinto beans. That's where it gets really dicey for me. I get to occasionally have to switch it up, but I eat there all the time too. It's amazing how much more, like, not to make this a Chipotle ad, but their food is so much more fresh than like pretty much every other fast food
Yeah.
option you have out there. And
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
that's why I'm glad that we get money to go there because, I mean, it's food that's not gonna make you feel like crap afterwards, you know? I'm super thankful that we are provided the resources to go get that every day.
And I'm a big fan of the guac. I just can't quite explain what they do, but everyone knows it's good. And
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that big of a guac guy, really.
bummer.
Yeah.
So I have to go to
I
Chipotle
know,
every
I'm
day.
sorry to disappoint you.
The guac is fantastic.
Yeah.
What were some of the differences between Coach Johnson's program at McLennan and his program here?
Really not much, and, I mean, he's a guy that knows how to win, and he's a guy that, like, really, really does care for his players, and you can see that each and every day the way he goes about his business, but, it kinda gave me a sense of comfort coming in. I mean, I committed super early into my sophomore year at McLennan because I just knew what I was gonna expect from him. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. So coming in, I knew his coaching style. I knew that he trusted me. And that's kind of a really big deal right now in college sports is just that trust in a coach. And he's super loyal. I value that a ton. But as far as his coaching style goes, really not much changed. I mean, he still expects greatness out of all of his players, and that doesn't matter if he's got 10 parents in the stands watching him or 2,000.
And from a faith perspective, faith is a big part of everything that happens at Baylor. Was that a big aspect in JUCO as well for you guys that was ingrained in the program, or is that something that's become a bigger part of your experience at Baylor?
Yeah, obviously a little bit of a bigger part here just because it's easier to talk about it. Obviously, being a Baptist school, there's a lot of resources that they give us to kind of explore our faith. But Coach Thompson made it a, a priority in junior college as well. Every Monday, we would have FCA meetings. Ben Johnson, he's an FCA leader here in Waco. He would come talk to us every Monday, and just Coach Thompson would make it super important to us and super clear that obviously he cares about what happens to us on a baseball field, but if he were truly to look into our eyes and tell us that he cares about us, he would care about what happens to us in eternity. And he made that super clear to us and would always say that to start off Mondays or after Mr. Johnson was done speaking. But yeah, he definitely made that an important part, and I really value that in him as a person.
And was there a moment, was FCA for you, how was that for you as a freshman? Because I know a lot of athletes I've talked to, it's a very life-changing process for them.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily too involved in FCA, because he would just come talk to us and and we listen. But I would say that the biggest impact that happened to me in my faith in junior college was my teammates and kind of those people around me. Britton Moore is one that comes to mind. He's one of my teammates. He's actually on The Voice right now. If that's a plug.
Let's go.
But yeah,
That's
if you
pretty
wanna
cool.
go check him out,
Was he
but
was he was he the pipes going in the locker room?
oh, yeah, he was a great baseball player too. He was a second team all conference as a freshman, but his voice is unbelievable, but he and, one of my roommates, they both, like, really found this faith aspect super important, and, one of my teammates here now, Will Glatch, actually, we would go to church over at Harris Creek and really make that an important part of our lives, and I think that really carried over to baseball as well, just kinda taking the pressure off of us and realizing that God's love is never changing.
Have you kept that same church throughout your college experience? Because being in the same area might have allowed that.
Yeah, I have, and it's nice because most of our team also goes there as well. One of my roommates, Cortland Castle, he's a Waco native, so he always takes us, and yeah, I mean, we'll go like 5, 6 of us at a time in groups, to go to Harris Creek on Sundays, and that's a really important part of life for us.
How has that consistency helped you over this college journey?
Consistency and
Church.
oh, like, I can't even say how important it is. Faith is the most important thing about me, and it makes me who I am, and, like, baseball is just something that I do, but my faith in Jesus is everything to me, and going to church is obviously a great reminder, but whatever I do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, throughout the week, that's what really allows me to grow in my relationship with him and kind of have it carry over to what I do, and whether that be on the field, in relationships, and everything like that. And that's one of the special things about this team this year. We've really taken a dive into that. Our chaplains, Bob Johns, Byron Weathersby, they do a great job at leading us. Cole Stasio, Gabe Craig, Andrew Petrowski, older guys, leaders on the team. They do a great job at making sure our faith is a super important thing to us, like throughout the day, throughout the week, and it really shows in the field. Like success leaves clues, and you're seeing guys play with a lot more freedom because they know that it's not them that has to take the burden. They know that if they go for 4, God's love's never going to change. And I think that's a super important part. One of the cool things that we did this year is I don't know if you've ever seen like the Jesus One apparel company.
I have actually.
So we got in contact with them and they made shirts for us that were green, had the Baylor font, and we all wore them for practice one day. And it was kind of cool to see everybody like super pumped up about it to just wear the gospel on their chest and show everybody and not be afraid of the good news that Christ brings.
How did you practice that day?
We practice good every day, but maybe a little bit better. Maybe a little bit better that day.
Yeah, I just have to imagine self-expression is such a powerful thing, and to be able to all have such a unified message, I have to imagine has had a lasting impact.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You can just tell by the guys the way that everybody goes about their day. I've really seen people change even from last year to this year, and kind of making that faith a big deal. We baptized 7 guys on our team right behind home plate on our field. with everybody there watching, and it's cool to see the way that Christ is moving in their lives and changing their lives.
I just can't imagine that the first thing that came to my mind was if you got baptized at home plate, the first at bat that you'd have after that at that plate. I just can't imagine the emotions that would come through you after having that experience coming up to bat in front of an amazing home crowd.
I think that it's super freeing. We have a big kind of poster board that we put up in our locker room. It was Cole Stacio's idea and Andrew Petrowski, and it's got a verse from John on there that says "Set free through Christ," and we put a Sharpie next to it, and everyone just writes like maybe one of their favorite Bible verses or an encouraging quote or something like that on it. And I think going up to the plate, knowing that you just given your life to Christ just sets you free and the pressure is all off of you.
Another thing you said is that success brings clues. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, success leaves clues. Like all successful teams do stuff right, like it's like Oklahoma softball, for example. You can see them, Boise State football. You see them kind of just empowering Christ after they win big games or something like that. And you see that in our teams here. I mean, all these championships that you mentioned, we're just emboldened by Christ in this university, and you can see that in everybody. But even like like a good baseball team, like you'll see them always running hard, no matter if they ground out to first base or hit a double. You'll see them like steady, like super steady. They won't be riding the highs and lows, not complaining when things go their way. And so you see great teams doing the same things over and over and over again. So that success you can kind of see through their actions.
If you get a moment that one of your teammates had that you just kind of sat in pride where it's sometimes easier when you're watching than when it's you yourself, where you watched a moment with the teammate and you're like, this is something a successful team would do.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna hate me for saying this, but we this past Tuesday we won big against Texas State, and it was a 1-run game, and I think it was about the fourth or the fifth inning, and our leadoff hitter Jack Little, he plays with his hair on fire all the time, and he strikes out, but it's a drop third strike, and instead of being mad about it and just letting the catcher tag him out, he jukes the catcher's tag and starts sprinting down to first base. Catcher freaks out, makes a throwing error, and we put up 6 runs that inning after he did that. And you can kind of see like that's something that great teams do all the time. And it's encouraging to see that happening this year throughout our team. I mean, we have moments like that all the time. That's just kind of the first one that popped into my head. But it's exciting to see because I know that eventually those little moments are going to keep stacking up. And at the end of the year, we're going to look back and know that's why we won all the games that we did.
Almost anybody else would have quit in that play
Yeah.
and just gone back to the dugout
Yeah.
and
He's
called it a
fun to
day.
watch play. He's super fun to watch play. He plays the game hard. He respects the game.
That's like a perfect example of good things stacking on each other because someone makes that play, they turn nothing into something, and all of a sudden 6 runs come right behind that, and I think it's like a 19-3 win.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's that was just the one little play that started it, and if you're kinda watching the game and not paying attention, you'd never know that, but we know that,
That's a hard
and
place to play.
yeah, yeah, there was it was I was not expecting that for a Tuesday crowd. Usually Tuesday crowds are a little bit more mellowed out, not here. Our fans have been awesome. Yeah, it was packed out and everybody was loud, but it was kinda fun to see them all go quiet.
Do you think that's all the things we're talking about are a part of the reason fan support's been awesome this year?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, winning's a lot more fun for everybody, and, like I said, there's people supporting us regardless, but it's always fun to see the stands packed out supporting us, whether we're up 5, down 5. It's just fun to hear those people in the stands, like maybe saying your name, encouraging you, cheering you on, seeing kids running up and down the berm, like having them run up to you, asking for autographs after the game. Kind of just puts into perspective how important this program is to people, and that it's so much bigger than just us on the team and us as individuals.
I think it's the way that you guys play that's resonated so deeply this year, where you're seeing this fan support come back over and over again, kind of even ahead of this breakthrough that you're having.
Right. Yeah. I think that you can just see everybody playing with so much more joy, and it's exciting to watch teams that are thankful for where they're at, and you can see that in every single one of our guys. But really just playing with that joy, like even the guys in the dugout, like, are maybe they're not playing as much as they want to, but like we get a big hit and they're the first ones out there giving somebody a high five. It's fun to see. There's a picture of one of our stud freshmen, Pearson Reebok. He hit his first career home run, and we do this thing where after you score a run, you get to the dugout and like run through, high five everybody, and there's someone at the end of the dugout to like give you a hug. And that was one of our team leaders, Cole Stasio, was like giving them the hug. And then on both sides are two guys that really haven't gotten that many bats this year, but are just absolutely fired up for them. And it's such an awesome picture because it kind of encapsulates what our team is. It's just 40 guys working towards one goal.
Which is,
Omaha.
how do you feel like you're on that path
I
right
think
now?
we're going pretty good right now. Obviously, if we're the team that we are right now at the end of the year, like nobody's really gonna be happy. I mean, you got to keep stacking days and getting better and better. But I think that the foundation is set, and it's firm, and I think that if we continue to build, we don't get complacent. We're gonna see what we're looking for.
And so you talk about that goal being Omaha, and if anybody at the end of last season had heard you say that goal, they probably would just think that you were insane. Although more and more evidence is stacking now that that's something that could be realistic for you.
In order to have these lofty goals, you got to have some sort of delusion, and that might be like delusional to somebody that's outside of our program, but not to us. I mean, like maybe you say that our end goal is Omaha to somebody, and it's like, well, you guys won this many games last year. Like, how are you going to make it there? It's like, it's the same thing that's on my hat. You just got to believe. And if you don't say it out loud, it's not going to happen. And that might have been one of our mistakes last year, just not saying it out loud. Like we kind of set our goals a little too low. But this year, we kind of made a decision as leaders that we weren't afraid to say it. It's like this is where this program needs to be. This is where this program has been. Like, why are we not saying this out loud? And if you say it enough times, it becomes truth, and you start seeing it in everybody, and that belief starts building, and now you're seeing it happen on the field.
Where was the breakthrough, you feel like? What, or if you could identify like a turning point moment from last year where you said you didn't quite have that belief yet to now where it seems everyone's got that belief. Where do you think, do you pinpoint like a moment or like a part of this journey where you really feel like that's shifted?
I'd say just at the beginning of the year, just kind of when we had that that meeting with a bunch of the older guys in the team, saying that how they wanted to have pride in this university and the green and gold. We started singing the Baylor line after wins, which we didn't do last year, and you kind of just see like that excitement for this team building. And I think a character win that may be like a turning point for us this season would be last weekend, Sunday versus Kansas. We lose 9-1, 9-2 on Friday, 14-7 on Saturday, on the road in a tough environment, and everybody's kind of down. And then we come out on Sunday and we take care of business and we win. And we were down 5-0 early in that game, looking like it's about to happen again. And there was just no quitting us. And I think that if that belief wasn't there and that culture shift wasn't there, then we would have just laid down and let them beat us again. And same thing happened again this weekend. I mean, we lose by 10 on Saturday and kind of come back, have a meeting, look ourselves in the mirror, and win Sunday 19-3, 19-4. And it just kind of tells you a lot about this team and the belief that we have in each other.
What is it that's happening in these games where you've had a good number of games this year where you've scored an outrageous amount of runs? What is it that's happening in these games where once one person gets going, it's like a virus and it's infecting everybody else in a good way?
It's a saying that you hear growing up all throughout baseball. It's just that hitting is contagious. And maybe it just takes that one swing, or maybe like a strikeout even, like I was talking about with Jack. But it just takes one swing and then everybody's like, okay, like I can do this. Like, let's just keep building on it. sometimes it just happens, you know? Those innings are fun. We put up a 11-run inning, I think, yesterday. That doesn't happen too often, especially not twice in 1 week because we put up a 10 spot against Texas State earlier in the week. But yeah, like just building off of each other, like seeing the guy before you go have a great at bat, you're like, I want to have a good at bat for him, get him to score, and then I know the guy behind me is going to do as well. Just kind of having that trust in your teammates, I think, that really builds those big innings, and that's what leads to wins.
You talk about faith being the most important thing in your life. Was it always that way, or was there a moment for you where that kind of became instilled?
It was not always that way. I knew I always had faith that God was there, but I wouldn't necessarily say I was pursuing a relationship with him. My junior year of high school, I'm lucky enough to be around some great people in my life. And my teammate and roommate now, I went to high school with, Wesley Jordan. There was a night in like the fall of that year, playoff baseball is going on, and he invites me to come watch a playoff baseball game with him and some of our other teammates and our young life leader at the time. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to go watch baseball. And I show up there and we're sitting around having a good time watching the game. And then everyone goes and sits down at a table and they all have their Bibles. And I was like, what's going on? And I was actually tricked by Wesley into coming to a Bible study. And like, I, it was definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me because now, uh, like it's made my faith the most important thing about me, like I said. But in that Bible study, we were reading a chapter out of Matthew, and Jesus looks at, I think it's Andrew and Peter, and they're fishing, and they can't catch anything, and Jesus shows up, casts a net out, pulls it up, and it says like the net was so full of fish that it almost broke. And he looks at them and he says, I'm going to make you fishers of men. And that's kind of resonated with me because as an athlete, we have this great platform to really disciple others and provide a great example. And that made me realize like I need to start looking to God more and more because people see who I am because our life is made so public now. And I need to make sure I'm setting a good example for everybody and showing them the joy of Christ in everything that I do. But yeah, shout out to Wesley Jordan. That's one of my favorite stories to share. He did a great job at tricking me into coming. But yeah,
Did you end up watching baseball all at night?
watched the first couple innings, but no, after that, no, we just sat and talked about Jesus.
I'd say you got something better out of it, though.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I love telling that story.
And where do you feel like the number one way that story, which probably is one that you sounds like you think back to a lot in terms of story of Jesus arriving. My first instinct was fishing. Probably got a lot better. That's a pretty good person to have come contribute to
Right.
your experience. But where's the top? Where's like a story that you think that now you've been able to take that metaphor and bring into your own life?
Baylor does a great job at kind of teaching us how to disciple others and bring Christ into our everyday lives. And so there's a program here called I Disciple that's led by our sports ministry. Great people, Holly, Josh, Kevin, like they do a really good job at kind of ministering us into what we can take into our day-to-day lives. But one of the greatest stories from there is we did an activity where we made a prayer list of just 5 people that we would pray for every night to see if they would come to Christ and just not talk to them about it, just and if they brought the conversation up, then we would. Um, but just 5 people that you pray for every night that Jesus would come into their lives and they would be curious. And one of them was my little brother. And so I prayed for him. I prayed for a couple other people. And about a week later, he starts to text me and ask questions. And that made me really excited because that's like living proof that prayer works. And now he's leading a Bible study at his high school. He's been baptized, committed to go to college for pole vault. I mean, everything's kind of stacking up
Where's
in
he
his
going?
life. Liberty.
So that's a
Yeah.
place where he'll also have the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Very similar to here.
that was one of the big factors in his decision. But yeah, like number 5 ranked pole vaulter in the country right now in high school.
I think that you got the evidence in your brother's case. Sometimes things happen very quickly, and other times, every time it happens when it needs to.
Yeah,
But I think that sometimes some of those fast results can help give us the confidence that the work we're doing is good.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
That's a very, very cool experience. What do you think the most challenging moment of your journey was so far?
Thankfully, I haven't really been plagued by too many injuries. But my sophomore year of high school, uh, I was I thought I was like, king of the world. I made varsity as a freshman, was doing great, and then going into my sophomore year, like I was ready to go. And then I got super, super sick and didn't know what was going on. Had a pain in my shoulder that I had to have my mom like come and peel me off of my bed every morning. And it turned out to be a big abscess in my collarbone, a staph infection. And it was about 4 hours away from going septic and it taking my life. And had to have emergency surgery, 3 different operations to get it taken out. I mean, shell of my former self. I think I was like 110 pounds soaking wet, like super, super just frail and not myself. And that happened right at the beginning of baseball season. And like baseball season is something I look forward to every year. Like that's what I prepare for. And just to kind of have like the beginning of that season taken away, and kind of like during the season as well, whenever I came back, I just wasn't really myself. But that really taught me. That's when I started leaning on Christ a little bit more, kind of getting a little bit more curious, just kind of seeing like, why would this happen? But it taught me to be thankful for where I'm at and not take anything for granted, because I just assumed that I was going to go in and start right away and uh, play every game, but that obviously God had a different story for me that year. Would come off the bench some games and not play some games just because I was struggling with my injuries and like not being in it for so long. Uh, but now looking back on it, I'm able to enjoy each and every day at practice because I remember sitting there on the bench like I wish I could play right now. So whenever I'm sitting there at practice, like we're 2 hours in, I'm base running for bunt defense or something like that. I just like there's like where else would I rather be right now? Like would I rather be in the dugout sitting here watching, or out here living some of the best times of my life with my teammates?
And something you've gotten to carry with yourself.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of your baseball career, was there a moment in that whole unfolding where you really had to face the fact that you might not survive that?
Well, no, I didn't. They didn't tell me until after the fact, so I was actually all right. But like I was so out of it that like the nurse came in to prep me for that emergency surgery, and they always ask like, "What's your pain scale on a scale of 1 to 10?" And I don't even remember this because I was so out of it. But my mom told me I said a 4,
Ah,
just because I thought I was like some tough guy, and and the nurse looked at me as like, "This is the worst pain you're ever gonna feel." So, but yeah, I like luckily they kept everything from me, and I was okay. I was taken care of.
so you end up finding out that you were that close to death, which is terrifying.
Right. Yeah.
What perspective has that given you?
Oh, like I said, like I don't take any moment for granted now. And also any hardships I'm going through, like that's that's probably one of the most physically hard things that I'll ever go through. And so now, anytime I am hurting or feel physical pain, I think it kind of toughened me on the outside. Like maybe I'm not feeling so comfortable one day going into a game or going into a practice. Like I kind of have to look myself in the mirror and be like, you can get through this. Like you're tough enough. Um, and so that kind of building up that resilience, I think, is the most important thing that I got from that.
And what advice would you give to somebody having gone through an experience like that? And then obviously you made it, but like you talked about, it was a long way up the mountain to get back to the baseball player that you now are.
Right. Yeah. I think that obviously, number one, having trust in God. That's always gonna be number 1. But number 2 is just being obsessed with the process and knowing that where you are right now, whether it's an injury or a mental matter or something like that, it's all part of the process. And it's always going to be process over outcome. And so you might not be getting the results that you want right now, but as long as you stay committed to what you've been doing for your whole life that made you successful, like not getting down on yourself, not blaming yourself for anything, just being engrossed in the day to day and getting better and bettering yourself. I think that was the most important thing for me.
Total other side. It's this is an amazing place to play college baseball, amazing city. What's the most fun that you've had at Baylor so far?
Honestly, just hanging out with my teammates away from the field. You'll hear so many alumni come up and talk to you and be like, we like loved our time here. We love playing baseball here. But the thing that I miss the most is just hanging out with guys, like going out to eat and like we had a crawfish boil over spring break and just like those little moments. I think that's been the most fun that I've had because this group of guys is awesome. I love hanging out with every one of them, all 40 of them. Like we get on our nerves sometimes, but no, it's been so fun, and obviously the baseball's been great, and I'm going to be thankful for that. But what I'm really going to miss from my time here is just the relationships that I've developed with my teammates.
Number one thing you're most excited about for the remainder of your time at Baylor, what would it be?
Trip to Omaha. Can't wait to get on that plane, go to Omaha, Nebraska, and go try to win a championship. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I was speaking of spring training. I was talking to former college baseball star Zach Geloff at spring training. He told me when Virginia got to go, he to this day he's played in Major League Baseball parks, etc. He's never experienced anything like playing in front of that crowd. So it's an awesome thing to get yourself excited for. Turn on some tapes of. Do you go on YouTube and watch tapes of past Baylor
All the
teams in
time.
Omaha to
Yeah.
get that vision?
Yeah. All the time. Well, we've actually been forced to watch like our coach Dylan like held our eyes open while we had to watch the 2005 team. But no, I'm kidding. We went and watched it on our own. But
After he forced you the first time.
yeah. But yeah, I mean we love watching like we'll go back and watch old Baylor teams and like the regional that they played in, UCLA, with Shea Langoliers and all those big leaders, Davis Manziel, all those big leaders on those teams. Kind of seeing like where they were at and how we can get better.
If you have one moment during your baseball career here where you really got to feel something greater coming through you, what do you think it was?
One of the coolest things that we've done, and I've already talked about this, but like we had just gotten a series win against Cincinnati on Easter weekend. And after the game, like they had us, me and Cole Stasio got to share our testimonies after the game. And that made me proud to be at Baylor because we make that important. And we make sure that Easter weekend's not about winning baseball games. It's about recognizing Christ's sacrifice for us. And that made me take a step back and be super thankful about where we're at and them allowing us to share our journey with Christ and having people stay after and watch and listen. I think that was probably the moment that made me most proud to be here.
It's a beautiful experience. I am really excited to watch the rest of your unfolding this year because you can just see that you guys are on the verge and are already a part of something extraordinarily special here.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see what we do for the rest of the season, but we're on a good track. The foundation's set. So
Really appreciate you doing this.
yeah, thanks for having me on.